Good afternoon and welcome to today's Lonsec iRate overview webinar. My name is Tracy Barden and I am the Senior Client Relations and Training Consultant here at Lonsec. So I'm going to be taking you through today's iRate overview demonstration. Before we get started, if you have any issues hearing me or if you cannot see my screen, so I've just shared the screen, so you should be able to just view the main dashboard on iRate. Just type me a quick message in the message panel, and if you have any issues, I'll get to them before we begin. As this is the overview of the entire site, there is a lot of information to take in, and I'm conscious of that as well. So if you do have any questions, please feel free to ask me throughout the session by typing me a message on the panel, and I'll do my best to get to those. Otherwise, I will leave some time at the end of the session to cover off any questions you may have on the area. Before we begin, I'll just give it another minute so everyone can get logged in and settled before we go through the overview of iRate. Okay, and if everyone's happy and settled, we'll begin with today's webinar. So as you log in to the iRate platform, you should be able to see a screen like this. So this is the main dashboard. You'll see across this banner, this is just Lonsec iRate. Some features up along here, which I'm going to go through, the workbench and underneath your username. We also have a number of the different modules available, and all depending on subscription levels. So you have the market, funds, equities with listed income, advisor tools, a resource hub, investment solutions offering, and Lonsec Retire. We also have this banner as well across the page. So if there's any upcoming events or if there's new reports to be published, something like that, we will put a quick link on here. And also if you scroll down to the dashboard, it will give you the latest research. If you are currently a subscriber and you receive our research bulletins around 5 p.m. in the evening, you will be kept up to date with all of the latest changes on any of the investments that we have. So you can see here, we store the last 10 entries of any ratings, any changes. So you can see here, for example, Monash Absolute. So this is maintaining an investment grade rating. And if you click through here, it will take you straight into the research report. Okay, and it works in the very same way with equities. So anything, for example, you can see this particular stock, Certex Medical, has ceased coverage. Listed income in the very same way. So it's just helping you to stay up to date with any of the changes that are occurring. My recent activities then is also a really useful tab. So for example, if you're in the middle of constructing a portfolio or doing some charts in here and you get called away to a meeting or telephone call, something like that, you can simply come back in here, jump into this, and it will take you straight back to the portfolio you're working on. So places that you've clicked through on the site, if you need to jump back and see what you were looking at or researching, you can certainly use the My Recent Activities tab for that. Okay. I'm going to work the way through from the market tab right the way through to Lonsec Retire, as that's like the process when doing, I guess, the researching for the different investments to put into a portfolio. So with the market tab then, if you hover here and also just jump into market reports. So this is where we would conduct I suppose the greater research, both globally and domestically, by using these reports when choosing how the markets are and when choosing investments. So the month in review, so this is just where you can see, I guess, our popular monthly report. So the month in review, so the latest one is just out. So it's published on the 7th business day. So this is the latest one with August returns, as you can see in here, right the way through to 10 years. We have some context underneath. And also we cover off in here a snapshot of the ASX 200 share movements in here as well. So any of the worst and best performers featured in here. We also have our investment outlook report. If you're familiar with this, this is our flagship report. Now it's a little bit more, I guess, in depth. So it's about 60 to 70 odd pages. So one for your leisure, I think. But it gives you a great overview and insight. So there's economic analysis, quarterly outlook, dynamic asset allocation by our consulting team. So that's updated every quarter, and also opens with an overview from Lucas, who is our head of investment solutions. So just gives you the content. So this covers off the markets both globally and domestically. Also then, when the investment outlook report, so that gets published around the 21st of the month. So our client service team also create 2 reports. They're really great snapshots for advisors and to share with clients. We have a client summary. So again, we take the key information and just pop it in here as like a snapshot summary, 1 to 2 pages of, I guess, the latest events. So that's that report. That's our client newsletter. We also have similar content in our market update, but the data is just expressed slightly more different, just expressed in charts and graphs, as you can see from here. The very same context underneath, so you can scroll through these reports. And again, this is only about 7 pages, so they're really good summarized reports. The next useful area I'm just going to cover off then is our asset allocation page. I'm just hovering on this to click. So within this page then, you'll be able to scroll through and see the asset allocation recommendations for the 6 different risk profiles, so from secure right the way through to high growth. And it will also give you the different investment objectives and the portfolio characteristics. So as you can see here, it's just the default is on secure. But if I click on balanced, for example, you'll notice my characteristics will change. So my income v growth is now 40-60 ratio. We also do the risk profiles with and without alternatives, as you can see here. And also we have separate columns for our strategic asset allocation, which is reviewed every 2 years, and our dynamic, which is every quarter. And again, you will notice that we have quick links throughout the iRate platform. So if you wanted to ever export all of this data, there's quick links to export to Excel, or Excel to Word or PDF, depending on the pages you're on. You can also go back historically with the reporting date. So by clicking in here, so this is the latest quarter that we have for June, but you can go back historically if you wish to do so as well. So that's our asset allocation. And then the last piece to show you under market, so if you hover on data and market indices, so in this particular page, then you'll be able to see we cover off the current and historical month-end index returns. So for the major asset classes that we've listed here on the left-hand side, we have the returns right the way through up to 10 years in here. So all of these figures. And again, you have a quick link to export to Excel. And again, you can also go back historically reporting dates, so for a different month, as you can see here. Okay, so that's those key areas I just wanted to cover off under market. I also just wanted to point out, when you are using the iRate platform, if possible, to use Google Chrome as your browser, because it works best functionality-wise in Google Chrome. So just that's the first tip. Also, funds and fund research. So you probably will spend a lot of time in here, as there's a large amount of functionality in here. Most, I guess, clients will jump in here for a research report and out again. However, there's a lot more functionality I think clients are not aware of. So when you come in here to fund research, and we've designed these pages so that they're user-friendly and really, really easy to navigate through. So you'll have a gray search column on the left, a white space here for to type either your API or code, or you can type in, the name of the product. And you also have a list of different, I guess, little options in here and different filters that you can narrow down your searches with. Then you'll have your results will display on the screen here. So, for example, if I'm just looking for, and I want to just type in a particular API or code, I can just do, I'm going to do this, fidelity. And it's quite intuitive as well, so it was typing the rest of it for me. So I'll just click on the search and the magnifying glass or this search option here, whichever you prefer. And here I have my Fidelity Global Equities Fund. And I have all of these headings, so rating, asset class, sector, and subsector. And I have quick links to my research documents that are available. So the quick links that I'll show you, the first one, and if you hover on the icon, it will show you the name of the actual report. So the first one is your snapshot, which you're quite familiar with. And again, these are very popular for sharing with clients or to include in an SOA. This is your fund profile, and with all of your key information on the particular fund. You have your recommendations, so this is your rating on the top right. Key information here, all about the fund. So you have a manager profile, PDS, what is the fund, what does the rating mean? And then you have on the right, you have some charts and graphs as well. So your growth of 10K and returns after fees, so the latest returns, and also asset allocation and fees. You will also notice then, and I'm going to hover on our second report, Fund Viewpoint. You will notice with Lonsec, with our research process, our documents and research reports are usually on an 80-20 overlay. So they're 80% qualitative and 20% quant. So it's not just that we're putting data on a page and you have to work it out for yourself. We actually provide a huge amount of context within here as well to explain further on the particular investments that you choose. The product viewpoint then, so this is a 2-page report. Again, some key information in here, just on 2 pages. And one of the great features on this report is Lonsec's opinion of this fund. If there's ever been a rating change on here, this paragraph will explain why, as to why the conviction has decreased. So it's really great insight in that paragraph, I recommend. The next one is your fund review. So when our analysts review a manager, this is the manager report that they put together. So it's a highly detailed report, can range between 7 and 12 pages, but there's a huge amount of detail in here, hence why the rating reflects so on the investment. And the final one, if you hover, is the sector review report. So this is an annual report, and this is the global equity sector. So this is the first part, because obviously global equity is going to be very large, and I guess some of our clients are very, I guess, keen to get their report here. So we do this in 2 parts. So again, this comes out annually and just gives you the purpose of the report, whether there's upgrades, downgrades, new investments to that particular sector, fund characteristics, performance tables, and so on. So again, that's a really great report as well, great insight. You will also be able to find out when the sector review reports are published. If you come to the research schedule in here, it will just advise you when the particular sector review that you're looking for is due to be released. Okay? So another way that you can also search, so for example, if I just type in a word search, and it's very intuitive, it will bring me up a prompt of different investments, but I just want to do a search on investments that contain this word Magellan. So if I click on here, then it's given me a search result of 52 products. And if I scroll down this page, I can see obviously I have different platform variants. So I can see AMP, BT, CFS, and so on. However, if I want to narrow my search and I just want the headline or parent fund, come over and use this option here, headline funds. click on the magnifying glass. And that has narrowed down my search now to 12 products. And again, if I wanted, I could use a further filter down along here. So if I wanted to jump into rating and I just want highly recommended, click search again. And that's just given me 3 products there. So I have headline funds, highly recommended, and just Magellan products. Okay, so that's just an idea of how you go about using the different filters. I'm just going to clear this now. Also, another way is if you have a list of investments on an Excel or on a Word document, and you'd like to paste all of those into the iRate platform and maybe save them as a core list that you might research frequently, so what we would call a product group, you can certainly do that as well. So I just have a list here, for example, of API codes. So if I just grab, simply copy and paste is all you have to do. I'm going to untick this. So I'm going to just paste those in here, and they don't need any formatting, just a space. Click on search. So this has now given me those 8 products that I copied. And if I wanted to store those, whether if it's for an APL or if it's for a client, you have their list of investments, I really do recommend and cannot recommend it strongly enough to group together those investments for your relative client or for an APL list or various APLs, because it is the foundations of doing further analysis, whether it's creating portfolios or running performance charting and quant. It saves you a lot more time in the research process down the line. So I really do recommend creating product groups. So if I want to store these 8, I can tick on them individually, or I can do select all to save me time. My selected is now populated if I expand here, and also you'll notice my workbench is populated with the same 8. So there is further functionality in this workbench as well. So just to point you in that direction, if you wanted to use that, it allows you to transfer those investments to different parts of the site to save you tabbing back and forth so that you can explore the workbench function as well. So to create your product group with these investments, if I click on this tab here, create product group. So let's just go 12/9/18, stick with the date, PG for product group, click on create, and now my product group has been created successfully. I can now clear these sections. I no longer need that data. And if I wanted to ever view my product group and maybe make some changes, I'd come up to my username here, and if I just click on it, you will see there's other functionality here. So for example, my account, you would go in here if you wanted to make any changes to like an email address or a contact number. My product group, this is where you would go to view your product group. So we're going to click load existing, and it's the top one here, so it's the 12th of September. So just click on the name. Here's my 8 products on the screen. And if I wanted to make any changes in here, and there's also further functions behind those arrows, I could add a product in here. So if I want to pop in a couple more products or type in an API code, let's pick 6. Okay, so you can make all those changes in here. And let's just remove one. So let's just remove one of these. Now I have 10 products. Just click save as you go along. And that's now saved for me. So any changes you do, come up under the username and go to my product group. If I now go back to fund research, maybe I want to download research reports and do them in a bulk format, so that I could just do one attachment with maybe 10 products. So I now want to retrieve my product group rather than, am I going to have to type out those API codes up here again? No, certainly not. We have this function down here. So if you just go to my product group, in the white space, so click in here, It is, so starts off with numeric and then alphabetical, but this is our latest one anyway. Click on this one, click on search, and it should now have 10 products. So I have my 10 results here now. If I wanted to download, so the one-page profile, so this is the first report, all together, so I would select all of my investments. Once you have investments up here in your selected area, not the search results, so up here, it allows you to move across these tabs. So there's really great functionality behind each of these pages. I'm just going to click through some of the ones that you're going to find most beneficial. So the profiles, so this will display your one-page profiles on the screen firstly. So that should be just displaying now. And if I have the option then, excuse me, to download in Word or PDF. Okay, so you can download in Word or PDF, depending on your choice. So if I click download in PDF, the first option I get is to download all profiles in PDF format. What that is all of those individual one-page reports will be attached together in one PDF, or else you can still do them individually. So if I click on this one, so it's just going to load my report. I open my download, and here I have 1 of 10. So if I scroll through, I have all of these 10 fund profiles grouped together. So again, that will save you a lot of time, and that's capped at 50 different investments in a product group that you can do in bulk download. Another one of the really great functions behind here as well is performance and prices. A lot of people will have this data on an Excel spreadsheet and do things maybe manually, different reports each month. But if you come in here, you'll see, so you get the performance and prices, so the latest returns right the way through to 10 years once we have the data. What you will notice then, if I export this to PDF and I want to have a hard copy, what's this going to look like, and is it presentable as well as to attach in with a report? The really great function here is when you export this performance and prices tab, you will notice, and it'll be highlighted in bold, that it will add the relative benchmark to your investment, so you don't have to. Okay? So that's also really good, and they're very presentable when you export the format, so nothing further to be added in there. So that's your performance and prices. Another area I just want to highlight to you, but as I mentioned, there is a lot more functionality in here. If you come under the More tab and you go down to Custom Report, because as you've worked your way through here, and I do run a webinar which focuses on all of the functionality in funds, so that will be next week, hence why I'm just covering off some of the key areas today. But I do go into that if it's something you want to log into next week. Custom Report. So you would have seen a lot of functionality across the way, but some of the attributes may not be relative to what you want to export. You now get a customized columns. So if you just want to export your investments with the ICR and the manager name, just going to pop in some returns, and you will see that these are being added dynamically in the background as we click on those. Pop in a benchmark. I'll just push back this arrow so you can see it a little bit more clearly. So here you have then your customized report, and again, you can export this to Excel, to Word, or to print out a copy. So from the subsector, these are the different attributes we've added. So that's also a really good function in there as well. The last feature I'm just going to show you in here, but I just need to untick a couple of these because I can only compare fixed. Let me have a look. I'm just going to compare two products. So we've brought out a new feature late last year, product comparison. So I have two products that I had selected here in product search. So I have Bentham and I have Colonial First State. I just went off asset class. So if I click on product comparison, so what this functionality allows me to do is to compare up to 5 different products side by side. So if I was considering swapping a product out of a portfolio and I want to choose one that I think is maybe performing better or just suited better, then I can do a comparison of those investments side by side. You can add in the attributes in here from a long list. So there are a number of attributes already in here, but for example, you can certainly add in as much or as little as you want. So I just added a couple more at the end, but again, you can certainly remove them. So say if we remove asset class, performance date, whichever, you can play around with it and see what exactly you want to add from the attributes. When you actually compare two side by side, you get the added bonus of having a difference column. And if there's calculations, it will perform them for you. So you just see the difference in the returns here in this column. ICR, so to do with your fees and costs. Also, you'll see this little plus will follow you around, and this allows you to reorder the, I guess, the different attributes. So if you want the ICR, you think it's a little bit more important, you want to set it up higher, pop that up there. And you will notice the plus on the right-hand side allows you to add 3 more investments if you wanted to compare up to 5. Okay. So that's all of the functionality I'm going to go through. But as I say, you can certainly click through all of the different functions as well in here. Just another area I just want to quickly point out to you under funds. If you're looking for, so not just, I guess, managed funds, if you're looking for a different type of investment structure, what you do here is come up to investment structure, this filter. If you're looking for ETFs or LICs, SMAs or superannuation, just simply click on here, and I'm just going to make sure I have no other filters, and click on search, and this should now give you the universe of LICs that we have research on. So you can see we have 66 returns under the subsector of LICs. Okay, so that's another great feature of the different types of investment structures and where you can find those. Okay. The next area I'm just going to cover off, and it will become very familiar to you, is our equities research. And again, the reason you'll know you're in equities is because it's like a purple theme, but the navigation is just as easy as well in through here, searching for different stocks. So Lonsec covers off with their direct equities coverage on the ASX 200. So if you were to type in here, you can either look by company name or you can type in the ASX code, whichever is easier. I'm just going to pop in a couple of these. You can do one or multiple. I'm just going to click magnifying glass. And again, the navigation is the very same. So you can see that it's brought up those 3 stocks for me. So BHP, Commonwealth, and Wesfarmers. You have all the different headings across here. And the last price is always as I close the business yesterday. So that's always dynamically updated. And you also have the quick links to your research report. So in the stocks, it's the stock viewpoint. If you click on here, so this report then, so it's a 2-page report that you can download, and it will give you all of the key information on this particular stock. And we've also included Lonsec's fair value in line with the action signal. You have an income and growth profile, so where the stock sits in those quadrants. And on the far right then, it will give you some more context on what exactly that means. So in relation to what the rating means, so approved, what the income and growth profile means. Again, giving you that little bit more context and, I guess, understanding as you work through the research reports. Your action signal, so whether it's under, over, or as Lonsec have fairly valued. Forecast returns, financial snapshot, investment view, last major event, share price performance, so just the graph there. We have our bull and bear points, and then some charts as well. So what you can also do as well, if you wanted to download those reports like you can with the, I guess, the managed funds. You can also do the same functionality by bulking those together. So what you would do is select all of those. So we have those three. My selected is now populated with 3. And I'm just going to come up here to stock viewpoint, so just to this tab. So this now shows me on screen the stock viewpoint. Before you click on download stock viewpoint, which is where you would do it in bulk, I just want to point out one of the good features. When you download a report, obviously to export, it's slightly different when you view it on screen. So for example, the share price performance becomes really dynamic and you can see the exact price on a particular date and time. So I think that's really great functionality in here as well. So when it's on screen, it becomes rather dynamic. So if I click download stock viewpoint, so I've selected 3 stocks, so I should have about 6 pages. There are 2 pages, so here I have 1 of 6, and again, they're grouped together as well, and that's capped at 50. Okay. Also, on the equity search, what you can also do is you can group together a core list of equities that you would like to research as well frequently. So if you wanted to group those 3 together or more, you also have the option to create a product group that contains just stocks. So you would pop in the name here and just click create the very same way as you would in our managed funds. But again, if you don't enter the ASX code or company, you can also go through these different filters along the way. So in line with recommendation or rating, whether it's an income growth profile, action signal, and so on as you work your way down through the different filters. And I also want to just point out, so for to make, I guess, to export bespoke data, you can come up here then and click on customize. And if you'd like to add in further data that you want, so for example, let's some gearing, pop in the returns, and as you can see, these are being added again in the background. Let's pop in revenue, franking, sales growth. Just click on the white area to come off there. Push back these arrows then to view that. And you can see, so from this forecast, we've added all of this additional data. And again, you have those options to export to Excel or to Word as well. So that's your equities research. Again, there is a separate webinar on that. So if you wanted to jump in to that particular one, you can just find out from our training page under Resource Hub when the equities webinar is. I'm just quickly going to show you as well, we have a listed income research offering. So hybrids, if that's something that you research. Again, it's a Champagne theme page, but the navigation is the very same. If I just wanted to type in my ASX code for my hybrid and click enter. So just brings me up my the particular security that I've chosen. So it's the AMP Capital Notes, all of my headings across here with the dynamic last price. And again, you have your quick links to your different reports. So this one has a listed income IPO. This is your standard listed income viewpoint. So this is 2-page, like your research reports, like your snapshots. And also, if there's been any corporate actions, you'll have this separate icon. So there's been a particular corporate action as well in here. Again, in the very same way, if I was to type in, just gonna untick here and just go back to our universe, just to show you. So if I was to click 1 or 2 different ones in here, so I have 3 chosen, 3 different hybrids, and I want to create a product group. It works in the very same way. Create product group, just give it a name and click on create. And then you have a product group that stores your different hybrids that you may search frequently. Also, you will notice that there is more functionality behind these gray tabs. We also produce a custom yield table, so again, customizing, so you can certainly add in more. So adding in more data to export there. A Lonsec yield table, so our equities team produce this on a weekly basis. We report any rating changes, upcoming distributions. There's some yield and maturity charts. We also, our research team produce a quarterly journal. So then we also, as we have with our equities and managed funds, we have a full research methodology as well. And again, the very same way you can filter down through the different, so if you just wanted for your sectors, you just wanted, for example, healthcare or real estate, you would just tick on here. Ratings, risk assessment, and all of those right the way through the different filters you can use just to narrow down your search. So that's our listed income offering. The next area I'm going to go through then is to quickly create a portfolio. So as you can see, we've worked our way through markets. So we've done our, I guess, our research in the markets, both globally and domestic with our different reporting. We've then gone on, maybe selected some investments, so some funds, some equities, some listed income, and now we come together and we go into portfolio construction. So in this advisor tools area, and again, this is a separate subscription level. This allows you to create your own portfolios by following just these steps. So it's like a little wizard and prompts to help you. So you just go through these different steps. So the default is portfolio, or excuse me, funds and equities, or you can also have it equities only, but there's less functionality in here just to bear in mind. So you give your portfolio a name. So I'm just going to say September 18, although I probably have this already. Portfolio September 18. Let's go the other way around. You don't have to give your portfolio a dollar amount, but if you wanted to, you can pop that in here, and it's expressed then in line with the weightings. Your asset allocation then, so this is just asking you to select an asset allocation that you want to build your portfolio on. So whether you want it to be Lonsec strategic, dynamic, or custom, I'm just going to go with dynamic for this example, and you'll see how your pie chart changes when you make changes. So your strategy then, so this is where you would select what type of strategy your portfolio is going to take on. So what type of risk is, I guess, associated with this portfolio. So whether you're going to be secure, balanced, growth, high growth. So let's just go with growth. Then you choose your benchmark. So Financial Express is our data provider. So this is Financial Express Unit Trust Peer Group Multi-Asset Growth. But you can click in here and select different benchmarks if you like. Okay. Include alternatives. So as you can see, we've 18% allocated in this portfolio for alternatives. You can choose to pick yes or no, and they will get reabsorbed back in. So I think they will go into your between Oz, equities, and global. Okay, so I'm just going to leave alternatives. Using Lonsec blends. So what this means is, do you want to use the Lonsec funds that we have in our models? So you can pick yes or no. I'm just going to say yes for this example, just so you get an idea of what the portfolios look like. We also have different restrictions here that you can pop in. If you want to put in a platform filter, because you're only going to use particular funds on a platform, you would select your platform in here, and it won't allow you then to put in further investments that are not on that platform. And again, in the very same way as if you have a product group. So if you had an APL, for example, in here, just with all of the approved products, it will restrict you then when you go into the portfolio, and when you're entering, if you enter maybe an incorrect API code or just a different one that's no longer or not on that list, it won't allow you. So these just help you when you're adding in further products. So I'll just click on create. And this is just an idea of what your portfolios can look like. So on the left, you have all of your settings. Now you can change these if you want. It's not set in stone. You have your name, your amount, your benchmark, and so on, all of these details, and your asset allocation pie chart here. And because we've chosen to use Lonsec Blends, we've popped in the investments that Lonsec would have within their models. So that's why they're populated for you already. You can, if you want, certainly make changes to these. As you can see in here, it just gives you your sector rating, your ICR percentage, the weight, and the dollar value expressed as well. So if I was to go and say, if I'm going to take out this product, I'm just going to push back this arrows. We also have a rebalance function. So that has now rebalanced that in line with keeping in with my 25% allocated to Oz equities. Also, if I come down here, if I have this Vanguard cash reserve, if I want to remove that and I want to put in just like generic cash, I can come up here and click add product. So this is where you would add further investments. And if you want to add a cash element, for example, cash, we have a generic cash functionality. I think we might be removing the generic from it. Sometimes it's hard to remember that it's just going to be cash, but we will get that changed. So that cash element has now popped in here and it goes under the correct sector for you. You just give that, it's 2%, just to make sure everything is 100%, and click on save, just to make sure your changes have been saved. Okay, so that's all been saved in there. There are other functionalities within here, like portfolio comparison, scanning your portfolios for biometrics, and I will go through the portfolio reports with you as well, just to show you what's available. There's also some new functionality that we've brought out earlier this week. So we have a new feature, which I'm just going to show you and create one in a moment. I'm going to end this. One of the new features as well is you can add commentary to your report. So you'll notice this box, this text box over on the right is new if you're familiar with the site. So you can add commentary into your notes. I'm just going to say portfolio. So whatever notes you want to add, that might be relative. Something like that. And the different reports that we have here, so we have a client report, which is your default report. You can also add in market commentary, which is taken from our month in review. So it's a snapshot of the latest, I guess, any changes in markets. Your portfolio reports, so if you want to add in the snapshots of all of the investments, you can add in the one-page fund profiles by ticking on this box. And then you have a separate asset allocation report as well. These are the different pieces of criteria. So that's just your performance date. So the latest returns, advisor name, let's put in John Smith, your benchmark, which you can change, and then your export format. So I'm just going to generate this report. This is a new feature as well. Because I've added commentary, it's just asking me to confirm the commentary is coming from me, so I am the advisor. So I'm just going to click yes. And also, while that's loading, I am just going to touch on, as I mentioned, another of our new features is called custom product. So it's in line with if there's any investments that we don't provide research on and you'd like more customized products contained within your portfolios, it now allows you the functionality to create, once you have the data, you can create custom products, so custom funds, benchmarks, and term deposits. So I'm going to go through a term deposit quickly with you and then add it back into a portfolio as well. So just while this is loading. So while that is loading, I'm just going to jump into the custom products that I mentioned. So where are you going to find how to create custom products? If you come up here on the right to your username and scroll down to My Custom Product, it will now take you into a new page. So this is brand new. So what the custom product is, so as I mentioned, it's a tool that allows you to create and upload external data that we currently don't have any research on within the iRate platform. So for example, if you wanted to create a term deposit that we want to put into our portfolio, you would simply, and it's really simple to use. So if you click Create New, this is just one I previously have for a fund, click on Create New, and it will give you a pop-up box just to show you the different products that you can create and customize. So you can create what type it is, so whether it's a fund, a benchmark, or a cash or term deposit. So in this case, we're going to create a term deposit. The ownership then is, so whether it's going to be just personal on your iRate or whether you want to be able to share it company-wide. So this is just going to be personal. The code then, so this is just a unique identifier. So for example, if it was a fund, you could pop in, make up an API code or a CDAL. But for this particular one, so let's just do TD for term deposit. Excuse me, and I'm going to do it for 5 years, so let's do 40 months. Or should I say, can't do the sums today, 60. Excuse me, so we have 60 months here. Just call it term deposit, so I know what it's relating to. 5Y or S. It will then ask you if you want to select a relative benchmark. Now I'm just going to do it, have the RBA cash rate. Then you have asset class. So where this is going to fall is obviously going to be cash. So that will default for you because you've chosen a term deposit. So just as simple as that, just click on Create. And my custom product, which is my term deposit 60, because it's 5 years, has been created. So now what I do is I add my terms. So click on this, and it will now, under my composite performance, give me a start and end date to what I want my 5-year term deposit to be. So let's go back maybe to June 17, and we'll do it till 22. It's very easy just to navigate through here. So this is going to be my term from 30th of June 17 to 22, and my rate is going to be fixed rate 2.75, and when you're finished, just click on Save. So now my performance return has been successfully saved. So if I go back then and just come back here and go to my custom product, I now have in here my term deposit. I know it's 5 years and it's cash, and when it was created. You can also edit that, or if you want to delete it. I'm just going to quickly go back to the client report and just show you. So this is what we've generated, and if you do want your practice logo to appear on your reporting, you can simply have it attached up here. You just need to send it to us in a JPEG format, and we can have it attached for you. We also have here your basic details, so all of the details here. The returns I can see are July, so there's obviously one product that's lagging, which I can show you in quant. You have the commentary, so this is new, the commentary that I've provided. I've just put portfolio revised and my initials. You have 4 of our popular charts from quant, so growth of 10K, snail trail, asset allocation, and risk return. Frequency distribution, we have a quartile chart. You also have regional analysis for distribution and our top 10 holdings. And then on page 3, you get a snapshot then of the entire portfolio. Okay, so that's your default client report. I'm just going to go back to our portfolio construction, load in our portfolio again that we've created, and show you how you would then enter your custom products into a portfolio. So now I'll click Load Existing, and this is the latest one, so Portfolio September. And it's really simple to make these changes. So if I want to scroll down and I want to remove generic cash, click on this bin, come up to Add Product, and where this will now sit is there's a new tab here, Custom Product. I choose my term deposit 5 years, and that's added in for me here. Okay, I'm just going to remove this. I thought I deleted that one. Here we go. So term deposit, I have 98%, but I'm actually going to change that. So let's put 2 in here, and I'm going to put in 8% here. Just making sure that it's 100% all the time. Click Save. And now you have customized your portfolio with your custom product in there as well, reflected down on the bottom with your term deposit in here. That's your 8% representing that figure. Okay, so that's how easy it is to navigate. The last area I'm quickly just going to show you is quantitative analysis, which is underneath here, but I am going to now transfer this particular portfolio into quant. The quickest way to do that is if you push back these arrows, click on quant, that transfers the data for you straight away. So as you can see in here, my portfolio has been entered into quant. This is the name and this is the data period. So I have data from June 17 to, and I know the reason why for this, because I have a term deposit, till July 2018. And that's why our reporting was only going to July, because there is an investment lagging here. What I can do then is click on this plus to expand on the latest investments. So if you can see all the underlying investments in here, the yellow is always a positive. So that will always be the latest returns of August here, as you can see. So this particular one, this AQR, is causing the delay for the data period here. So we can't run up to August returns, which we saw in our client report. And also partners group as well. And my term deposit that I've added, this is also only allowing us to run performance from the June. So it's quite a short period. You can, however, if I could delete this, you notice that's after getting a little bit larger. I can go from July 2015. And if I was to remove these two red bars, I'd be able to run to August. But at the minute, I'm just going to calculate these at a portfolio level, all of the charting that's available. Just click on all. And you can further manipulate the different, so like the growth history, you can change that. I'm just going to click generate just to give you an idea of what's available. So there's a number of different charting, and these are also incorporated in our portfolio comparison. So if that's a feature that you may be able to see in our Advisor Tools webinar, where you can pick and choose the different charts from this suite when you're running your different charts. So again, just making your reports that little bit more customized and tailored for your clients. So you have a number of charts that you can see here. So your asset allocation, your growth of 10K, your period returns. So this is really great. So if you click in here, and it is expressed in a table format, if you want to see it as a chart, click on chart, and you can also have it as a chart. You also have a full definition, and there's also a new feature when you download the image. So the first one, previously you could just download just the one full width report. However, now, if you are creating a report and you would like to add two products or two, I guess, reports side by side, you would download this option. So it's more, the resolution is that bit clearer when you're shrinking those reports or those charts side by side. So this is a new feature as well. And again, if you just come up here to your growth of 10K and click on here, this is just showing your how your portfolio is tracking against the relative benchmark that we have here. And it's fully dynamic. And once again, if you want that in table data, just click up here. Okay. So that's your quantitative analysis. In the Resource Hub then, just quickly, that's where you'll find a number of documents. So that's like a centralized library. We also have a training page as well. So if there's any other webinars that you'd like to sign up for, you can register here for a number of them. And we also have previous training videos on the site on different areas that you may need assistance on. Investment solutions then, this is a separate offering to do with SMAs and managed accounts. So if that's something you're interested in, please get in touch and we can put you in touch with the relative team members. And also Lonsec Retire is where we work with Milliman to produce retirement papers. So in here, it's a simple single sign-on, takes you straight into the different retirement perspective papers as well, if you wanted to read up more in there. Okay. So that's probably everything I'm going to cover off today. I know that is a lot to take in, so thanks very much for your time. I'm just going to leave our contact details up on screen. So we have a fully dedicated team for iRate queries. So if you wanted to send us an email or contact us, these are the details below. But I just want to take the time to say thank you very much for your time today. I hope you found the session to be beneficial and there's some key takeaways in there in it for you. So if you have any questions, I'm going to stay on the line for another couple of moments to answer any questions you may have. So thank you very much.